Hey, what's up, everyone? Welcome to the Being Beautifully Honest podcast and channel. And whichever platforms you're listening to this on, I want to let you know I really do appreciate you. And if you are a subscriber, thank you so much. If you are not subscribed yet, please do go ahead and hit that subscribe button. And if you're listening to this on YouTube while you're at it, just go ahead and hit that like button. It's like walking into the room and hitting that light switch. Let's just go ahead and brighten up the place. So I want to go ahead and get into this conversation / reality chat. But, this is something that I had wanted to talk about many months ago. And this is based on the situation between Martellholt, Melody, and the children that they had together. Because when Melody finally made the decision to pull the plug and say, you know what, I'm officially done. I have made many attempts to try to make this marriage work in private and most definitely in public, because for all of the negative things that people may say about her and think about her, and I always have to just let people know who don't know, I do admire and respect Melody in her decisions and her business moves as well. But I'm not a millimeter, and I'm not a stan or a fangirl for anybody, not even Beyonce, even though I consider her my Virgo sister. We have that in common, but I just don't consider myself a label for anyone. But I see what I see, and I'm not saying that Martell has never said anything that was true, because a broken clock can be right 2 times a day at least, right? But what I've seen is she's definitely in public tried to reconcile and tried to make it work, because on the first season of the show, when they were going through things and she let him know that she was expecting, she definitely did not seem happy. She definitely didn't look like she was in a good place with him. But it's like, well, I'm married to this man. We've been together all of these years. I'm disgusted with how he has been treating me and what he has been doing with other people while married to me, and also just how he treats me disrespectfully as well, not just regarding being unfaithful, but I'm willing to try to give it another go. And they did that in public as well. On the television show, you saw it when they had the baby shower, and after that, and going up to the point of her having the 4th child that they call Sugar Mama, and even at the reunion while she was pregnant and she was saying it's Team Holt, like she was trying to stand by her man, flaws and all. Even though a lot of us didn't understand it, she tried. She definitely did try. But after she finally made the decision to pull the plug and let that marriage go and forge it on her own, even though you had people like Letitia's mom, that they call Miss Wanda, telling her, what man is going to want you with 4 kids? You just need to try to work it out with your husband. And, and speech like that, it really angers me when I hear women say things like that. When you're telling a woman that she needs to stay in a bad situation for the sake of possibly avoiding a worse situation. What, like, that term, I can do bad all by myself, is actually a misnomer. It should be, I can do better by myself. Why stick with someone for the sake of optics and what the public is going to say, or I don't know what my options are going to be if I leave this man? I may not be able to get with another man. And who's to say she even wants to be with another man? And I'm not speaking about sexual preferences, but I'm just saying there are some women that don't want to get married again, So it's not all about that. But we've seen in public that she's tried to make it work. Well, I'm saying all of those things to say, when she was trying to have the children and Martell, like they went out on a picnic and they were speaking about the family and things like that, we've seen where she has tried to co-parent with him. We, at least what we have seen. I know we don't see everything, so I'm not trying to go there. But from what it looks like to me, it looks like she has made a lot of attempts. But when I've heard some things, the few times that they have had the children on camera and the children were allowed to speak and say things, to me, it really looks like the children were very aware that their mom has been unhappy for a very long time. There was one scene where they were out at a picnic and Martell Jr. said to, the effect of the mom crying, Melody saying, I miss seeing mommy smile. I don't want to see mommy cry anymore. And I'll never forget that. I actually, that touched my heart so much because children, they feel things. They feel a whole lot more than than a lot of adults give them credit for. And they see things as well, even though a lot of parents try to hide things, quote unquote, for the sake of the children. So when people say that they stay with someone for the sake of the kids, more often than not, they're usually staying for the sake of themselves, but they're using the kids as an excuse as to why they are staying. Because I'm not saying that it feels good for children to go through a divorce and see a household break up. But if it means that the other parent that they're going to be living with is going to be happier, they would much rather that than being in a household where the parents are arguing and fussing and fighting. You can't tell me that the kids were not hearing those things. I know that they were arguing. I know that they were fussing. And there may have been some slaps and some punches or some things tossed across the room or whatever. And I'm not even saying in the presence of the children, but I don't care if the kids are in another room. They feel those things. They do. So Martell, who is on this press tour going around promoting himself as some actor, reality star, it's really disgusting because the children, if they don't already see it, they're going to see it. And I feel that they are going to eventually resent their dad. Maybe not all of them. And I'm not saying they're going to hate their father or they're going to disown him or not speak to him anymore. But the Bible even speaks about it. Do not provoke your children to anger. Do not provoke your children to wrath. A lot of parents don't think about how they are treating either themselves or their spouse or the other parent. And they sometimes just picture their children being children, little ones, all the time. But these kids grow so fast. And before you know it, they are 18 or older. And then they're making the decisions about who they really want to be around. And in my personal opinion, I'm just being beautifully honest, I see at least some, if not most of, those children that he had with Martell distancing themselves from him, and not because of the influence of their mom, because she has shown on a number of occasions that she has tried to make things work. We heard about the daughter. I don't remember which daughter it was. I don't know if they said it was Mariah, but it was one of the daughters that saw Martell with another chick. I don't know if it was Arion, better known as or always known as Coleslaw, to start getting upset and angry and saying, "Get away from my father, get away from my father." And she was visibly upset. Like, she's grown up with her mom and dad being together, and seeing her dad with someone else like that, I'm quite sure that was something that really upset her. Melody chose to tell the children because she didn't want to hide it about her dad having another child. Some people may feel that that wasn't cool, or she shouldn't have done it, or she should have let him do it. But why does it matter? He did something wrong, and I'm not saying she said it to the kids in a spiteful way to say, well, look at what your dad did because of, I just believe that I don't believe that she told her children in a way that was angry or spiteful or trying to diminish their father in their eyes or to demolish or destroy him. I believe that she just wanted her kids to know the truth. And also because she knows her ex-husband, she probably knew that he wasn't going to tell her or tell her children, his children too, but tell the kids in the right time and also in the right manner. She knows him. If anyone knows him, she knows him. She knows him better than the kids know him. So she did what she felt was best, and I didn't fault her for that either. And I know that it wasn't an easy thing for her to do. But there was this one scene, and what they call the comeback group, it was Letitia and Marceau, Kimmy and Maurice, and Melody, and they were having a meeting, and I believe it was in Melody's office, and Martell came. It was his time to have the kids, and he had the kids in the car, and I believe it was the oldest daughter. When Martell was about to leave, I believe Martell came back in to the office to tell Melody that she was crying because could he come and see, what the problem is. At that time, I remember that scene vividly. This is my personal opinion. I feel that Martell was being Martell, being angry, probably yelling or fussing at them. And also, this was during the dissolution of the marriage and the beginning of it. And this was something that was new to them. And I'm sure Martell didn't have the patience or the care to really love on his kids the way that he should have, and was probably snapping on her. That's my personal opinion. I wasn't there, so I'm not saying that's exactly what happened, but that's what I felt like happened, and Melody had to come out and calm her daughter, and, they didn't put the camera on the child, which I'm glad that they didn't, but the cameras were rolling, and I'll never forget that scene. And I remember at that time watching that, and I just wondered, I said, you know what? I wonder how these kids are going to feel about their dad when they get older, because in my opinion, he uses the children as props. He can't do that anymore on social media, and definitely can't do it on the show because of the court ruling. And he's the one that initiated it. He started it, and it is what it is at this point in time now. But when Melody was seeing this counselor woman, I don't remember what her name is or was, with the children, and the children were just expressing themselves, and they were saying things, in my opinion, that was just leading me to believe that household had been toxic for so long, and it was definitely in the children's best interest, and Melody, of course, to leave that marriage, because to stay in there any longer, who knows how these kids were going to turn out. They look like they're very bright children, that they have bright futures ahead of them. They have a really great mother that really loves and supports them and cares about them. And I feel that they just have a selfish dad that is using them to try to get back at Melody for leaving him. And it's disgusting. But to see what is going on now, because there's a lot of discussion. There's been a lot of discussion about this custody battle, and it's not a good look. But again, Martell started it. I was listening to a live discussion, not intently because I was working on some other things as I was listening, so I didn't get to hear everything that was said and every panelist that was speaking on Sherelle's World channel. But ultimately, and I know it's hard, one of the panelists, she said something because she went through a custody battle as well. And she said, I know it's not easy, especially when you have somebody that's putting you out there and it's in the public. But when you know the type of man that you're dealing with, you really have to try to, as much as possible, be the bigger person until the kids are of age, of a legal age. I do believe that Melody's tried to do that. Am I saying everything that she said and done on social media or maybe even on television has been perfect? Absolutely not, because none of us are perfect. I will never be the one to say that. But when it comes to Martell acting like it's all about the children and he just wants to be there for his children as much as possible, and if she's going to get a babysitter, he should have the right to get the kids during those times, I just feel, and I know that Melody feels this, that he's just using that to try to have an end to her life. So if it means her being the bigger person to say, well, you know what, I cannot deal with this man. If he has to have the right to take care of the children, if I need to get a babysitter while I have the kids in my care and custody, then we're going to have an intermediary, a mediator, a guardian ad litem, which is what the court, labels them, that is going to handle this so that they can reach out to him and ask him if he needs to, or not even needs to, if he wants to have the kids because I need to do X, Y, and Z during this time. And then they can deal with him versus her having to deal with him, because it's all about him wanting to be around Melody. We've seen it on the show. We saw it on the first episode of this new season where he's adamant about walking her to her car. And she didn't want to. She didn't want to be walked to the car. She didn't want to be dealing with him, honestly, at all. But she did a little bit. And she allowed him to walk her to the door of the venue that they were at for the party for Kimmy. And he's talking to her about this prayer. It's all about him and wanting to have an end back into her life. Like, he tried to joke about it with Lou and Tiffany, saying when Melody said that she's about to leave, he's like, yeah, we're about to leave. And giggling and laughing like it's cute and funny, when all of that time Melody knew what was going on and what he was dragging her through the courts to try to get, which was full custody. So I will never say that Melody's actions were perfect, but I don't really know how they can be initially when you know that someone is really trying their best to destroy you, when all you really want is peace and to move on. And yes, we have these kids together, but unfortunately, I have to still deal with you. So I'm trying my best to do that and stay sane, but yet you can't just let me go. She talks about how he sent her 10 dozen roses. Like, you don't do that because you want to get your children more than you're getting them. You're doing that because you're trying to get back into the house. You're trying to get back into those panties. Like, that's what it is about Martell. All he cares about is himself. Period. So, in my personal opinion, just based on the things that I've seen over the past several seasons, based on the things that has played out on social media when he recorded his kids speaking negatively or coaxing them and coaching them, in my personal opinion, to speak negatively about their mother and making it seem like their mom doesn't take care of them, their mom doesn't give them baths, their mom didn't teach them how to pray. He's the one that taught them how to pray. He's the one that taught them how to read. She didn't teach them how to read. Like, just so much asinine stuff that most people do not believe. He was doing all of those things to try to make their mother look horrible, and they're going to remember those things. And those are just the things that we have seen, the things that we have been privy to. We haven't been in the house to hear him dog their mother out. I know he's done it. Yeah, I have to say allegedly, or in my opinion, but I'm just saying, based on what he has said to her on camera when the kids were not around, calling her a whore, saying that she's been sleeping around. Why would I want that when you've been with you've been with too many men for me to want that anymore? And he knows that that's not true. It's just amazing to me for him to think that his kids are going to continue to see him as Superman the way that they did when they were 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 years old. Because the older they get, the more their eyes are open, and the more that they see, and the more that has been exposed, and the more damage he has done. So I'm just wondering, and I want to know what you guys think. Do you believe that the kids are going to grow up to resent Martell. In my personal opinion, I feel that they will. Maybe not all of them. It happens. But I believe that it is going to happen. And he will have no one else to blame but himself. I'm quite sure if and when it does happen, he will blame Melody and say that she poisoned the kids' minds against him. But we know that he's been doing that. He's been trying to poison the kids' minds against their mom. But it's not about just someone telling them these things. It's about what they experience. It's about what they see. It's about what they, hear coming out of the horse's mouth, literally Martell, the horse, and about what they feel. And they've already seen a lot in the few years that they've had here on this earth. God bless. I hope and pray that they have many more and that they will have, good lives ahead of them in peace and tranquility. But he's making it a battle. He's making it a battle. So I just really wanted to talk about that, guys. You let me know your thoughts about it in the comment section below. Thank you so much for being here. I really do appreciate you. And thank you so much for being a subscriber. I'm Beth, and I'm just being beautifully honest. So until the next time, I just wanted to keep it brief, beautiful, and now I'm going to say bye.